What's up, guys? It's SwitchX Sam. If you want to solo flawless any dungeon in the entire game but don't want to put in any of the effort, then this video's for you. This is a solo flawless Grasp of Avarice run I did, and I wanted to use it as an opportunity to talk about what I think is one of the most broken and brain-dead builds for Warlocks who want to solo flawless any dungeon as easy as possible. And before you start typing your angry comment, yes, Grasp of Avarice is not the hardest dungeon. No, I'm not the first person in the entire world to come up with using Prismatic Getaway Artist. And no, this isn't the highest Warlock DPS in the game. And yes, this is my first solo flawless Grasp run, as you'll see at the end. Not because it's that hard, just because I haven't gotten around to it yet. The goal of this video, however, is to convert you to using a build so death-proof that you can solo flawless any dungeon while barely pressing any buttons. No loadout swaps, no complex rotations, just playing the game on literal autopilot. Remember, Anor taught us how to be a formally trained Praxic. You must return to being a Praxic. Just because Renegades is over does not mean you need to stop using the Praxic blade. You must take up the blade, like we promised Anor we would. This video was 1000% sponsored by Anor, but I don't care. I'm a Praxic blade salesman. This is the most ridiculous build I've ever played, and I never take it off for any activity ever. So let's dive in. First, let me lay out the build so you can see my mods. I'm gonna put up on screen here. Fragments, aspects, and artifact perks. Guys, dim link is in the description, so if you don't want to think about anything, you just want to click that dim link, go ahead and use the link in the description to be able to pull it for yourself easily. As we'll talk about in this video, almost every part of this build is flexible, and the mods that you prefer to run or the armor set bonuses are, for the most part, up to you. So take my specific variation of this build and feel free to play around with it to fit your playstyle. So let's get into the build. I want to start with the exotic armor here, because that's really where this all starts. The centerpiece of this whole build is the exotic arm piece Getaway Artist, which historically in Destiny was never bad, but with the addition of Prismatic and the Final Shape DLC, and the Stat 3.0 rework in the Edge of Fate DLC, that's really where this exotic single-handedly became the most brain-dead, easy-to-use exotic for Warlocks in literally any piece of content. I see a lot of discourse about Getaway Artist, but if maybe you're new to the game or you don't fully understand the complexities of like Prismatic Warlock and how that all intertwines with each other because you're new to the game or casual, I kind of want to explain why it's OP as like an average, above average player. No crazy speedrun tech. Just, for the most part, average dude, normal gameplay. Getaway Artist converts your arc grenade into an arc soul and amplifies you, which is great. But what makes it disgusting is how it interacts with your Prismatic subclass. Any single Getaway Artist skill can proc both your Devour, the first aspect that I run, which heals you and gives you grenade energy back on any given kill, procs Facet of Dominance, which jolts enemies, and Jolt also increases your damage dealt to the enemy that was jolted, and since it's a grenade, scales with your grenade stat. The second aspect that I'm running is Hellion, since personally, I like how easy it is to instantly spawn with your Phoenix Dive. Hellion, of course, is also coded as a grenade, so it can scorch targets, and again, will scale with damage above 100 with your grenade set. But why do we care about scorching targets? Like, why not use Threadling or some of the other aspects that we have at your disposal? I'm running my beloved Praxic Blade, of course, which inflicts elemental debuffs inherently, which in this case, since I'm running Song of Flame, applies even more Scorch stacks when damaging combatants with it. Remember, because Praxic Blade, if you're running a Solar Super, scorches enemies on hit. So the Hellion just helps to add on extra Scorch stacks in addition to your Praxic Blade, and using Song of Flame to apply even more Scorch stacks, letting you ignite more frequently, giving you more damage. And as you can see in this run, just having my 2 turrets up at any given time literally just clears entire rooms. Like, I don't even have to press a button to shoot. I don't have to press my Praxic Blade. They literally just clear on their own. In terms of ad clear and neutral game, this build is essentially like nullifies any issues that you could run into. Amplified gives you 15% damage resistance, gives you speed booster to run around. Devour gives you grenade regen to use more arc grenades to give you more Getaway Artist turrets, heals you to full health thanks to Facet of Mending. You can block with your Praxic Blade, giving you more survival. You can then Eager Edge with it to get away quickly and then continue blocking and heal yourself from killing more Eds, which heals you. Use your Phoenix Dive to instantly heal you to full health. Like, the only thing you need to worry about in any given dungeon is literally the mechanics. If you are not dying to the mechanics, it's almost impossible to die on this build. You have so many tools at your disposal to stay alive, most of which involve literally not pressing a single button. You can just stand there and block with Praxic Blade and clear anything. Okay, so now on to DPS. How does the damage work, and why does it work? Earlier I mentioned that Song of Flame's increased Scorch stacks on weapon damage is working in conjunction with Praxic Blade's inherent ability to Scorch, and the Hellion adding on top of it to get an ignition faster, right? Just helps to add more Scorch stacks to get your ignition. This is essentially the core of the DPS rotation. It's literally just slashing away with your Praxic Blade, going light, 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 heavy, light, 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 heavy. But there's a few more bells and whistles that can add a significant amount of damage to your rotation. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, as you're preparing for DPS, as you'll kind of see on screen here, you want to make sure that you have all of your abilities up. For the most part, this really isn't going to be an issue since you have your Devour to get your grenade energy back. You have mods on your armor to get grenade and class energy back. Since you'll basically be living in your Praxic Blade and not switching to your other weapons that often, you won't really be using your melee that much, so even investing points in the melee stat isn't really worth it. As DPS is about to start, what you want to do is you want to start charging your Getaway Artist. As soon as you see the fist pump, mash into your Phoenix Dive to spawn both your Arc Soul and Hellion at the same time, so they're up the entire DPS phase. As soon as you land on that ground, mash your Transcendence. Transcendence is an extremely important part of doing damage on this build, and that's because we as Warlocks, our Transcendence Grenade deals void damage. Therefore, the Transcendent Grenade weakens the boss via Faceted Dominance, giving us a 15% increased damage on top of our 25% increased damage we're getting from Song of Flame, giving us Radiant. Once you pop that Transcendence, throw your Prismatic Grenade at the boss's feet, pop both your Strand Melees into the boss, pop your Song of Flame, and just go to town. In this exact moment, I have Transcendence Grenade weakening and slowing the boss. I have Arc Soul Jolting, doing continuous damage. I have Hellion applying Scorch, doing continuous damage. All three of these scale with your grenade stat, which should ideally be above 150. And you're literally just being chilling there, doing damage on your own, with nothing else needed than hitting with your Praxic Blade. Now let's turn to the Praxic Blade, right? What you're actually doing damage with. Thanks to the encrypted data disk artifact, you can repeat your light, 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 heavy, light, 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 heavy combo to summon kinetic blades that swirl around you and deal passive damage, in addition to supplying you infinite ammo, so you literally never have to stop hitting the boss. Like, that's it. Your Song of Flame will keep you alive. Just base Song of Flame with 100 super stat lasts about as long as almost every DPS phase for any dungeon boss in the game. So you don't really need to overly invest into that super stat. If there are encounters where you feel like you want it up for a split second or two longer, feel free to go to 110, 120 super stat to get it up a little more. Now I want to talk about the questions you're probably all thinking. What are the other weapons you should be running? What's the armor set bonus, fragments, aspects, mods? To be honest, there's not really a wrong answer to any of these questions. As long as you have a minimum of 100 super, 150 weapon, and 150 grenade stat, whether, you know, including font mods or not, you can two-phase almost every dungeon boss in the game. Like, super easily. I'm not talking about you, Zoetic Loxite and Ranix, okay? Start deleting your angry comment. We can talk about them a different day. Go watch my Zoetic Loxite video if you want to see how to beat it in one ability. We'll talk about you on a different day. At the end of the day here, we're really just pressing your grenade and hitting the boss. So, like, your stat values are really the only thing contributing to damage. No complex rotations, so just hitting 150, 150, 100 is all you need. But let's talk about it anyway, because I think there's some cool options here that we can kind of play with. Starting with fragments and aspects. If you're an experienced Destiny player, I'm guessing the first thing that comes to your mind when you look at my build is why you're running Hellion with Facet of Dawn instead of Bleak Watcher with Facet of Ruin. My answer to that is, yeah, that's totally fine. You can do it as well. Perfectly good setup. It works. The reason I don't run it is Facet of Dawn only increases the radius of your solar ignition, not the damage. But it does increase the damage of your Stasis Crystal Shatters. When you actually compare this to the Hellion and the Practice Tool, the damage is about dead even, actually. It doesn't make a meaningful difference in the amount of damage you can output. So then why do I even go Hellion and Facet of Dawn instead? It's because I like being able to carry my Hellion around with me in neutral game. It allows me to heal myself with Devourer on the go when soloing mechanics, whereas Bleak Watcher would kind of sit there on the field, stationary. And since I'm using a Praxic Blade, I'm running around, I like to have another buddy turret with me. Or, you know, whether that's having two up at the same time or alternating when they're on cooldown. To keep my Devourer and my heals up. And since Facet of Ruin doesn't really increase ignition damage, I run Facet of Dawn for scenarios where my Song of Flame runs out during DPS phase, and I need another way to proc Radiant. Or when time between DPS phases is too short to get my ult back, and I need to start DPS without Song of Flame. As for armor set bonuses, go whatever you want, guys. Again, the effects of the armor sets don't overly change the outcome of either your ad clear or your DPS values. But if I had to pick a Knight Shining Armor, hello, of course, it's going to be the Equilibrium Armor 4-piece set, Sage Protector. The 2-piece gives you increased grenade and class energy, which gives you both of your turrets faster. And the 4-piece gives you increased sword launch distance and damage after guarding, and increases the class and grenade regen after that block as well. Like, this is literally designed for this exact use case. Like, it literally could not be more perfect for what we're doing. Getting your grenade, your Arc Soul turret, and your Phoenix Dive up as fast as possible based on what you're doing in your Praxic Blade. It's literally perfect. Regen for getting your buddies back, increase lunge distance for that Eager Edge dash if you have Hyperblade equipped, and increase damage for boss DPS. Absolutely perfect for this build, guys. If you can't run Equilibrium or don't like having to do it on 2 feats, since it's only 1 run a week for tier 5s, you just use the basic Swordmaster 4-piece, which I don't think the effects of it are that great personally, but it's better than nothing. You can get Swordmaster at Zavala and a bunch of the Vanguard activities. It's a pretty easy set to get. Now on to mods. Again, guys, do what you want. Go what you want. It doesn't have a huge impact on the outcome here, just because of how broken this build is. But my strong recommendation would be to put points into your Surge and Fawn mods, so you can get 150 grenade and a 150 weapon stat. The way I did this was actually by running like 70 super with 2 super font mods, so I could hit around like 110, 100, 120 super stat, and I could have 120 base grenade stat and 140 weapon, and then use my mods to get them even higher. So with my mods applied, I'm running, 160 plus grenade stat, and my weapon base is at 150 to 160, and then with my kinetic surge mods, we're getting close to 200. For me personally, I allocated all of my other points into orb management as well to spawn as many orbs as I can and keep armor charges up as long as possible, but you guys run what you feel comfortable with. Again, the mods are pretty flexible here, guys. As long as you have the stat base, you're going to kill ads, and you're going to kill the boss in 2 phases. Last but not least, let's talk about weapons. And there's a reason I saved this for the final boss here. This is by far the least consequential part of this build. You could literally equip blue weapons, and nothing would change about this build. An enemy is close, Praxic Blade. An enemy is far, block, Eager Edge, Praxic Blade. A lot of enemies, 2 turrets chaining damage. Everything I said before, the turrets will probably kill before you can kill them with your Praxic Blade. The only theoretical weakness in this build is enemies that fly, and even then, you can literally just hold block and jump in the air and let your turrets kill them. For this build, I'm running Eartide Apex, my absolute goat and beloved, which I don't need to explain why it's OP now, but just look at this roll. Look at this screenshot. I love heal clip weapons in general, so I love having one on me at all times, just in case something goes wrong and I need to heal in a pinch. And I'm also running Bitter End, the machine gun from Equilibrium with attrition orbs. As I mentioned, flying enemies can be annoying, so for this encounter specifically, there's the Shank in the middle of the arena. I just pulled up my Bitter End to melt him. And that's really the only time I had to use another weapon that was not my Praxic Blade. But guys, I swear, literally anything you want for your other 2 weapons. It doesn't matter. You can do it based on counter, you can do it based on preference, literally whatever works for you guys. And that's the build, guys. Super, super brain dead. Clears any amount of ads, any boss in the entire game, while literally only pressing left click to do your damage. If you want the exact setup, dim link's in the description. Drop it in. Go clear whatever dungeon's been giving you trouble. Let me know if you have any issues. You should be able to solo flawless any dungeon in the game with this build. Yes, there are some exception encounters. This covers the vast, vast majority of bosses and encounters in the game. If you're a trained Praxic, or you found this video helpful, I want you to do me a favor and like and subscribe. It's the only thing that tells me whether or not the content I'm making is useful to you guys, and you want to continue to see it. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know if you have any other suggestions you want to see. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Too easy. Solo flawless grasp. Complete. Except I'm LARPing as Kylo Ren.